Hi everyone, welcome to Skill Inspirational Academy. So this course have been launched specially for all students who are looking for big IP GTM course, that is Global Traffic Manager, or it is called DNS. So welcome again to our Skill Inspirational Academy. So we will have this course from basic to advanced for any students who are looking to get more hands-on with labs plus theory part. So we will cover course content taking into consideration like students are totally new to this subject. So let's go through course content first, then we will proceed with other things. So in this videos, so we will have total around 20 hours course which will cover your basics of DNS. Then it will cover your GTM. Then it will cover about GTM with integration with LTM and so on. So initial step would be like we will be covering of big IP system setup. So initial we will do how is big IP launch, what is introduction, how we can set up big IP in production or in lab environment, how we take backup of any complex configuration and how we restore it. Then we will see how to provision your GTM box with your network configuration. After that, we will cover basics of DNS in detail, like what is DNS, how the name resolution occurs. Then we will see how to implement big IP DNS. After that, third most important step is there is a feature called how to accelerate your DNS. So then we will cover this in detail. So in this, we will see first like introduction of DNS resolution with big IP. Then we will configure your big IP DNS listener, which is same as your name server in DNS, which listen your request of your DNS initially. So it can be called as a virtual server in GTM term. Then we will cover resource records and how to resolve DNS query. So we will cover first accelerating DNS resolution, then intelligent. So we will cover what is wide IP, how we can resolve using big IP DNS, and how to integrate your big IP DNS into existing platform. After that, further on in further videos, we will see how to implement intelligent DNS resolution. What are physical components like what is server, what is data center, what is objects. So we will cover all these things. Once it is covered, then we will see how to configure all these objects like data center, how to integrate big IP LTM with your GTM server. So this way we will keep forwarding how to configure your wide IP pools, how to configure wide IP in detail. All these steps would be covered in lab topology. So I will show you lab how all this will be testing in our lab, and it will be same as your production. Nothing will be changed. Once this is done, then we will see what is local DNS props and metrics. So we will cover monitoring part in further on. So in this topic, we will cover LDNS props and metrics. After that, we will cover types of LDNS props, then how to exclude LDNS from probing, and how to configure probe metrics calculation. Once this is done, then another topic, another video will be coming based on your load balancing intelligent DNS solution. So we have wide IP and we have pool. So we will cover wide IP, load balancing algo, and pool load balancing algo. So we will cover all this in detail so that you will get everything. So we will cover round robin, ratio, global availability, static, dynamic, least connections, and further on we will go further on topology based, which is very important whenever you are sitting in US, you want to resolve it locally on US data center. So once it's done, we will cover monitors, how to explode monitors, how to configure monitor manually. So we will cover all this. Once it's done, then we will cover logs file, like configuration file, how to see troubleshooting logs, like where, log, LTM part. So we will cover all this in detail. After that, we will cover advanced DNS, like how to implement DNS security, how to implement sync group, like how to integrate one GTM box, GTM1 with GTM2, like how to integrate both the boxes together. So we will see what is sync group in GTM. This is very important. And after that, we will cover some steps on interview topics, like whatever things we have discussed, we will have some interview questions we will ask and what is important in our topics so that you can get hands on and you will come to know like what type of questions will be asked in your interview part. Okay, so welcome again to our training. We have Skilled Inspirational Academy. You can check YouTube channel by Skilled Inspirational Academy for different topics related to F5, Palo Alto, and other stuff. So we have a good YouTube channel where I keep updating videos related to other topics in detail. So initial step, you should know like if you are good in LTM, then you should know that big IP GTM also comes under your big IP product. So we have a big IP family, big IP products starting from LTM, then GTM, which is DNS, which we will cover in this topic. Then there is AAM, AFM, which is a layer 3 firewall, layer 4 firewall. Then it is APM. So F5 products available in market are been increasing. F5 has introduced these products in cloud. ASM is your security model. And you can see this TMOS. TMOS is your F5 operating system. So you can say that it's called as a traffic management operating system. So you should know that what is the operating system in F5. It's called TMOS. Okay. So you can see that it can be deployed as a cloud. It can be deployed as a hardware or it can be deployed in a VCMP Vipron chassis. So it depends like on your company architecture where you can deploy it. It can be also deployed in your virtual edition. So this is how it covers the stuff like what is big IP products. After all, this all hardware are available. So it depends like which module you need to deploy based on your capability, flexibility, and expandability. So all these products are called application delivery controllers. So these are the hardware which are available in market. So we have 2000 series, 3000 series, 4000 series, 5000, and we have higher capacity model depends on your F5 capacity based on your throughput SSL sessions. So you can go to F5 and type F5 datasheet where you will get different modules, topics like what are the sessions, what are the architecture. Also, we have Vipron models, 2000 series, 4000 series, and higher model it goes to 4800. All these modules, all these hardwares, you can deploy LTM plus GTM plus ASM, depends on your license. So you can deploy all these three modules together or four modules. So big IP, as I told that we have a hardware module, we have a virtual edition module also. Like you can use VMware, Red Hat, Citrix, all can be integrated with big IP. So you can deploy your big IP in your AWS architecture also. So you can deploy F5 in your cloud also. This, I, this is how it goes. So as we discussed course outline, I will not go this anywhere else. So we will continue with our course content now in detail. So in chapter 1, we will see what is overview of big IP, GTM features, how to install your big IP with lab setup, like how you can do the lab setup. So this all will be done here. After that, we will see backup of your base configuration and initial lab setup. So welcome again to Skill Inspiration Academy. So in our topology of big IP GTM, we are using two data center. One is London data center and one is New York data center. And GTM has been deployed active. So that one data center, if it goes down, application would be available, DNS would be available 24 into 7. So in our topology, we have a workstation, we have a local DNS, and we have two data center with GTM each in each data center. GTM1 in London, we have one GTM in New York. So how I will show the lab topology soon, but this is how our GTM setup is. We have using active. So same application would be deployed in London and same application would be deployed in your New York. If one data center goes down, like see if London goes down, all traffic will go to New York. And LDNS would have entries, name server entry for both GTM. I will go in detail later on. So this is how the setup is. In our case, we are using high availability. All are in active. Now let's go further. Like what are the GTM features, what we'll be discussing in detail. So we have intelligent DNS resolution. We will be discussing accelerated DNS resolution, and we will also check DNS security, like how to secure our DNS. This all features would be discussed in detail. Now, as I thought that some people are new to F5 technology, so I will first discuss little bit basic setup of F5. So we have initially we only had packet based design. So where client multiple clients are there, then we have layer 3 device which is router, and we have application server. When F5 was not introduced, so initial setup was this. So client traffic comes to your layer 3 device and it will forward to your application server. So that is called packet based design. Traffic comes to your router and it will just forward based on your destination IP. So in this case, it will just see your IP address and forward to your application server. If one server goes down, like say that we have one server goes down, router will not come able to know that this server is down. So it will forward the traffic coming from cloud. So in this case, your outage would be happen. Your application customer will report issues like my application. They will shout my application is not accessible. These things. So I will show by picture. So client traffic will come onto packet based device, which is router, and it will just forward. So here we are not using any F5. We are not using F5 here. So now we will discuss the architecture, which is very important, very important, which is called big IP full proxy architecture. So in this case, if you see, this is our F5 device, which is called default deny device. You will come to know later on like why it is called default deny device. So in this case, we have client, we have F5 in picture, and we have server. So in this case, in as shown in picture, client traffic will come to F5. So we will have some virtual server which will listen to certain traffic. So once we have virtual server, it will forward traffic to the server. So we have two handshakes. One is from client to F5, like this C, client, F5, and server. So we have two separate connection. One is client to F5 and one is F5 to the server. So that is why it's called full proxy architecture. So we have one connection this way and one connection from F5 to the server. So F5 will have virtual server. Why I called this is a default deny? Because if there is no virtual server, it will not listen traffic. So in this case, traffic will come and F5 will reset the packet because it does not have any virtual server. That's why it's important to configure your virtual server in F5 to forward traffic to your backend server. So we have two separate connection. We can have IPv6 between client to F5 and we can have IPv4 between F5 to the server. Because connection is proxied, it does not have to be same things there. So we can have compressed traffic from client to F5 and uncompressed traffic from F5 to the server. The same way, we can have encrypted traffic from client to F5. We can have unencrypted traffic from F5 to the server. So let's go to the big IP system, like how it looks like, little bit on detail. So we have two things. One is traffic management and one is big IP administrator. So you can see we have different modules in our TMOS, LTM, GTM, ASM, APM. We have iRole to modify traffic. And since F5 is a high performance hardware, so SSL is a great feature so that your connections can be secured with web application can be secured, we can use compression. And in big IP administrator, it generally deal with your how to access your F5 through GUI, TMSH, and CLI. So TMSH is your traffic management shell where you can troubleshoot further on. We'll not go in detail here because as in picture it's clearly said that we have TMOS, which is a traffic management operating system, and we have big IP administrator. Now let's go further on like how F5 looks like. So we will discuss different ports. So this is your big IP hardware. This hardware is 5000 series. So first port, if you see on the left side, it's called management port. If you don't have, if F5 is a scratch, F5 is a new device, and you need to configure. So you take console and connect to your management port. After that, there is a USB port. There is one management port and USB port. Then there is a console port where you will connect your laptop. Either it's a serial 9 or RJ45. Then there is a failover port. So suppose you need to, if you're using hardware failover, in that case, you use this port, which is called failover port. So F5 will connect, like we have F51, we have F52. Both this will connect with each other through failover port end to end back to back. After that, we have some LEDs, like we have status tab, alarm tab, and power tab, which will give you an idea like if F5 is down or F5 is behaving unusual, then you can troubleshoot based on your indicator LEDs. Then we have some LCD displays and LCD control button, which you can use to configure your F5 also. Then we have your data interfaces, which is called TMM interfaces. It can be your Ethernet ports. If you have installed SFP, then there you can use gigabit port also. So this is how your F5 looks like, your F5 hardware. You should know this can be asked in your interview also. So you should have little idea on like how F5 looks like. It's easy. You can see by description, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, this way. And you can also see that LCD panel, like how it's look like. So it's clear in the picture. This box is 11.5.0 and it's a standalone box. You can see the serial number also, and you can see the different tabs: status tab, alarm tab, power tab. So this is how it looks like. So now let's discuss about GTM lab topology, like how routing, how switching is configured on your lab topology. So in lab, we will see different topics like how to provision F5 with GTM module, how to deploy GTM in active, LTM integration with GTM. We will see zone runner configuration, which is called bind. We'll see all this in our lab, how to configure DNS Express and how to do zone transfer. Then we will come to the intelligent DNS resolution. We will see how to configure listener, data center, servers, pools, wide IP, and load balancing algo. So I will make this course as interactive as I can with labs, with troubleshooting. All this will be covered. So please be in touch. Please see all the videos properly. If you have any doubts, you can contact your skilled inspirational academy and they will help you. I will be active in this channel, so you can contact me anytime for any doubts related to F5, any products, whether it's LTM, GTM, ASM, or APM. Or if you need any help in deployment in cloud, I will also help you. Then we will see how to establish your iQuery, how to establish monitors, and how to see different log files to see what the issue is. Then we will see how to make one GTM synchronize with another one. Like if I make changes in one GTM, how to deploy, how it will automatically deploy in GTM2. So in our lab setup, we will see how to configure management port, license, we will do provision, we will see how to configure platform like date, time, then we will come to know about how to configure network and data traffic. So before that, I need to tell you like how you can access your F5 initially. So either you can access your F5 through GUI, like you can type https colon double dash 192.168, or you can whatever you have IP address according to your topology. So browsers supported are you can access from Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, and Mozilla Firefox. So you can configure it accordingly. And you can also access your F5 through your external self IPs also, which is mentioned once we configure ability now. You can also access your F5 through CLI through PuTTY. You can SSH to management IP or self IP. So you can use SSH or PuTTY, Open SSH or PuTTY tool to access your F5. Let's see now further on before going further. I think this you can see my video. You will get to know in Skill Inspiration Academy like how to configure license and all the part. So I will not do this. I will just go through theory part. Lab part I will not show for this like how to license. I hope you all are aware on this. So first of all, we will connect, if we are in production, we can connect via serial console. So we will connect with the default address. So initially F5 will come with initial IP address. So we can access through that. Like whenever you get console, when you get console, you can access default through this IP address. Then you will get your CLI part, and there you need to type config to configure new management IP address. So this way you can configure by this command new management IP address. It's easy, it's not tough. You connect through console port, ask someone who is there in data center. They will connect their laptop to your console port, and you can connect through this IP address. After that, you got the IP address you configured, you will get GUI access for your F5. So once you have GUI access, you need to first license before using any LTM or GTM module or any other module. You need to license device before using any features of these products modules. So in this case, you need to license it. You need to You can get 30 days license also. I will show you from where you can get 30 days license. F5 provides you 30 days license for free. So once you get the license, you need to go to F5 license server, which is activate.f5.com, where you need to paste. So you will get this key in your email ID. So you can start with your base registration key. Then you can generate your dossier file, which includes your registration key. And then you need to send dossier. You can just copy paste and to your activate.f5.com, and your license server will give license to your F5. You will get license key, and then you can finish licensing process. So with these 5 steps, you are good. It just takes 5 steps. That's it. So you can do either automatic if you have F5 interaction with your internet, or you can do manual part. So after licensing has been done, you will see all license modules which are available for provisioning. So if you want your GTM and LTM to be configured in one box, then you need to click on GTM and your LTM box, and you need to select nominal, and you need to licensed bot. You need to provision and license to make your feature available. So provisioning levels are minimum, nominal, and dedicated. Dedicated means like if you have dedicated GTM, you cannot use LTM. You will not able to use any other modules. So if you have nominal, in nominal, you can configure multiple modules together in one box. Depends on your available resources. So device certificate is optional. It's available for 10 years. You can use your self-signed certificate, which is provided by F5 default, or you can install your own certificate, which is optional. So this is how it looks like your platform configuration. Once you have IP address, you need to give your host name, and time zone is very important to integrate your LTM box with GTM. So this is how platform configuration looks like. After that, we have configured network configuration, where we are using internal network. We have servers, backend servers in internal network, or we are using Linux, I will show you. And we are using external network, where we have webs and listener. So this port configuration IP address come under external network. So we will create VLANs, two, internal and external. We will use two interfaces, internal and external, and then we will associate VLAN with self IP address. So this is how our configuration will work. So let me show you now the lab topology, what we are using it before going to another chapter. So let me show it. So we will be using, I'm configuring my GTM box in EVNG. So you can see that I have GTM1, LTM and Linux. This I can say that, let me text it. Let me, this one is we are using, we have two dedication. One is, let me show in our document, our lab setup. So if you see that we have switch, LTM box, GTM box, and we have some Linux server. We have gateway, and we have this one is GC2. Let me copy this on PPT so that I can show you here like how our lab topology looks like. I will show you like what we are have. So we, if you see two lines, this one we are using it as a London DC, and this is our New York data center. So we have two data center, and we have one GTM, one LTM each in both data centers, and we have switch layer 3 router switch in one switch is in New York and one switch is in London data center, and we have our Linux servers. We will integrate our Linux box with your F5 GTM. You will see how to integrate. And for end-to-end connectivity, we are using EIGRP protocol so that we have end-to-end connectivity between both data center. So this is the lab topology which we are using in our environment, and all these labels we are using this topology. So switch routing part I will not cover here. I will show you like what is the name setup, lab setup which we are doing it, like how to initially connect it. So let me show you like which network I'm using it. So initial setup, if I talk about, we will be using three VLANs. One is your management, one is your internal. So I will be using VLAN 10 in my switch for management. VLAN 12 with will be for internal. VLAN 20 would be your external, and VLAN 30 for HA. So thank you everyone for watching this video. Whole lab setup and further configuration about DNS, like how it looks like, I will cover in next video. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.